There have been lots of reports this week from numerous different sources, from the Metro, the Sun, Talksport. There's too many to mention, really, which are all saying that if Paul Heckingbottom fails to get a win away from home at Arsenal this Saturday, then he's going to get sacked, and Chris Wilder is going to return to Sheffield United, coming back on a new long-term contract. Obviously, not that long-term contracts mean anything in football, as Heckingbottom still has 3 years left of his contract. But to be honest, I think this news raises a few questions for me. So the first has got to be, if we win, is Heckingbottom going to keep his job, and then Wilder's just going to have to sit around twiddling his thumbs until we lose a game? What if we get a hard-fought draw? Are we still going to sack him then, even, still not a win, but if it's a good draw and you can take some positives away from it, I suppose how you can take lots of positives from that Man United game, is he still going to get sacked then? What if we go on a win run of like 3 games, just randomly? It doesn't really make any sense. All of a sudden, is Wilder going to get the job at all if we go and lose one after that? And also, why did they not just do this over the international break and give Wilder time with these players, which hasn't worked with before, as opposed to only giving Hecky 2 games after the break? I think there's sort of lots of ambiguity right now, and because a lot of these stories are sort of just breaking, or they've only been out for a day or 2, we still need to know a lot more around what's going on. But I suppose what I wanted to talk about is the main focus of this video then, is does Heckingbottom deserve the sack? And I think there's a few different ways that you can look at this. Obviously the results have been abysmal, with no win so far this season. And then the performances have been a real mixed bag. Some games against Manchester United I thought we played quite well, certainly for the first half, and then sort of fell away in the second, but I thought we pushed them well, and there's lots of positives you can take from that performance. But obviously you look at other games like Newcastle 8-0 and you think that was diabolically bad. That was, you could argue we should have got the sack there and then, walking down the tunnel. And then just generally I thought so far this season defensively we've been so bad. Against Manchester United I thought he looked a little bit better, but at the end of the day Manchester United could take their chances. They could have scored 4 goals in that game, but at the end of the day I still think, does a different manager get us different results? I'm not sure. And personally I think obviously there's not a huge amount of quality in the squad as it is, and right now it's ravaged with injuries. I think it's sort of 11, 12 of our first team players aren't available for selection right now. We could have Antonio Conte, Pochettino, not that he's doing that well at the minute himself, but Pep Guardiola. Just name any sort of A-tier manager you want. I don't think we see majorly different results. Performances may be better, we may be defensively a bit more astute, but end of the year, I just think we lack the quality to actually compete in the Premier League right now. Looking at this story, I really think Hecky's been quite hard done by, really. Look, he did very well for us in the Championship, and then his reward for doing so well in the Championship was having his 2 most important players sold in Jai and Burge, and then one of our key players in Doyle wasn't brought back on loan, even on a permanent. I think he went to Wolves in the end for sort of £2.5 million, a really small fee which we definitely could have afforded, even though our budget was dire. We could still afford that. And then even the signings we've made, we left quite late into the window, and I still feel like we've left ourselves really short. And then to talk about how I think Wilder is going to do. Well, right now with the injuries we've got, we sort of have to play a back 4. Unless, I think maybe he can drop Sousa into defence. I think he's done that before, but then he's playing an unnatural position and it's sure just a bit... It's not ideal, is it? But you think that most of Wilder's success came from when we played a back 5 with the overlapping centre-backs. And right now we haven't really got the players to do that system. And obviously the players are going to be coming back from injury. But with, the amount of injuries that we've got and how serious some of the injuries are, they may not be back for months. Players like John Egan will be out for months. Players like Chris Basham, who was key to that overlapping system, he'll be out for the rest of the season, most likely. With Wilder, we have a better chance of staying up. I want to be clear on that. I think Wilder's a better manager than Heckingbottom, and despite how good Heckingbottom's been for us, but I do think Wilder is a better coach, better manager, gets us playing better football. And obviously it did go really wrong, which is something we have to talk about. But I feel like there's lots of mitigating circumstances around that. I think COVID killed us, obviously. I do believe that Wilder gives us the best chance of staying up. And some people will say never go back, go and get, a different manager, a different former Sheffield United player, or even just a manager who's got nothing to do with Sheffield United to come in and help us stay up. He even tried to get like Areola from Bournemouth because it looks like he's about to get sacked as well. But I can see the logic in bringing Wilder in. Most of these players he's worked with before, or he was the one who signed them, and then they've come through into the first team under Heckingbottom. So there is sense in that, and also as he is a Sheffield United fan, boyhood blade, then you can see why he also wants it. So it does make sense. But something we have to talk about is what happens to Wilder if we go down. Is he going to get the sack, or is he going to stick around in the Championship and try to get us back up? And then sort of the last question I've got is there going to be any real investment in January? Because the squad's bare bones and ravaged with injuries, as I've said. Surely there has to be investment, but then you think, well, the ownership want it to sell, and they don't want to spend all that money because they want to make as much as they can. But the other side of that is that if they do invest and they keep us in the Premier League, then they can probably sell us for more money. So, look, in this video I've asked lots of questions, and the reason for that is that I just don't have the answers for them, and I thought I'd just sort of ramble incoherently at the camera and try to organise my thoughts a little bit. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Please leave a comment down below if you have any answers to some of the questions I've raised in this video, just any thoughts generally on this potential move. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, where I will potentially be talking about Chris Wilder being confirmed to be the new Sheffield United manager.